Welcome to Night Shift Top Secret Information with myself, Eric Tansey, and my co-host, Conservative Anthony, Conservative Ant. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Dude, I am flustered. I'm flustered, Anthony.
Why are you flustered?
Dude,
I'm supposed to be the one that's
much.
flustered. That's like
This is so much. This is too much. It's too much.
I know.
It's
And
too
then
much.
once
These
you're
conspiracies
awake,
are too much.
yeah, once you see them and you're awake, it's over. Then you won't stop seeing them anymore.
Oh, this is maybe the worst show I've ever been asked to do. I thought this would be easy. I thought this would be storytelling. And we could just storytell. I didn't know that we were going to have to actually find the truth. And the truth is really not easy. Like, you have to really work to find the truth. I've been working on this episode now for a week, and I don't feel like I'm any closer to knowing anything than I was a week ago.
You never will find out the real answers, though. I mean, you might. You will. But
Bro,
there's
you
so
think
much
you and I-
behind each question.
You think you and I could just be so popular that they just invite us into like one of these groups? Like, can we be a Jay-Z or a Beyonce? And then we'll know and we won't tell anybody else?
Oh, you mean, so you mean undercover?
No, I mean, like, let's just sell our souls. Let's just do it.
I'm good. I don't want to, like, bathe in pig blood and...
Like, what is the invitation even like? I feel like that's the only way you're going to learn this is if you dive into it. If those of you guys are just tuning in right now, we are talking about who are the theys. We started out on our very first episode on this project. By the way, it's this Night Shift Top Secret Information where Conservative Ant and myself have been tasked with going down the rabbit hole for the next year or so to try to find out as much about all of the things, all the top secret information, to comb through it and to present it to you. This is all brought to you by the Failure to Stop Podcast Network, and that's where we come into play. So I'm a special operations combat veteran and ex-cop, and Conservative Anthony is a very popular at the moment, too, as we speak, political commentator. You were just on the news tonight. Again, you were on, what were you on today, this afternoon?
I was on OAN today. I'm on there
I love OAN.
often. I know, I love them.
I love it. You were on Tim Pool last week.
I was on Tim Pool. That was great time.
How was that? How was the Tim Pool compound?
Oh, dude. I mean, skate park, man cave to the next level, you know, the whole chicken house outside. I mean, it's a whole commune.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing
Is it a
place.
secret society?
Not yet. Not yet, but I'm sure I can make it one if I go there.
You're going to make it a secret society?
Maybe.
Well, we're diving all into secret societies tonight. I was on OAN 2 weeks ago. Were you on with Chris Hoyle? The night shift
I was on with
guy?
Dan Ball.
Oh, Dan Ball. Okay.
Love Dan.
Yeah, I was on the night shift guy, Chris Hoyle. And I don't know, when you were on, when I was on, like I was in the waiting room.
Yeah.
And we were both like 3 minutes before the show was supposed to start. We were like in the back room or the green room, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just making these terrible noises. And I'm just sitting there like, and then he was like, wow, wow.
It says like his sound word. Yeah. His like exercises.
It's his exercise, his Kegels, his mouth Kegels.
Kegels. Dan swears a lot before he goes live. I think he has
Does
to
he
get it all
really?
out. Yeah, he's
Like
got to
a
get it out of
Tourette's
the
type?
system.
Is it like a Tourette's type thing?
No, like
where he's like, shit, cock, fuck, balls.
no, like him and I have a great conversation in the group, like beforehand, and that's like he's just a guy that you can like shoot the shit with. You know what I mean? He's
Shoot
cool
the shiz.
And then when he's like on, then it's like professional. Like we're not swearing anymore.
I wish I could do that. I'm just unprofessional all the time. Unprofessional all the time. Well, today we're talking about, because we're going kind of in succession here. So we did the history of conspiracy theories, and always the biggest question in conspiracy theories is who is the they, right? We always use the term they. They're controlling us. They want a new world order. They blah, 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 blah. And I think if you get wrapped up in the they, it can be a very dangerous road to go down, because then anybody can be the they, and you're always looking over your shoulder, and then you're paranoid, and then you can become like super schizophrenic and things like that. But like, I think also in the same faction, if you actually learn about these things and you kind of like you've got to. I feel it. Look, I feel you guys. I feel all you tinfoil hats. I've got a whole new respect for you guys because this is a lot and it hurts my brain because it is so much. It's when I got my sommelier diploma and then my certified specialist of wine diploma, my head hurt like this because I thought every time I knew something about wine, I realized I didn't know anything
There was
about
something
wine.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you do the chemistry, then you do the viticulture, the winemaking, white wine, red wine, sweet wine, fortified wine. Then you start doing the wine theories of like all the regions and then all the sub-regions and all the appellations and sub-appellations and then all the altitudes and then all the soils and then all the governments behind the wines.
true.
It's exhausting, and I feel like it's the same way going into the rabbit holes of conspiracy theories where it is exhausting, and I see how you could go crazy.
Yeah, because the they are like it's the people that are doing it and the people that are reporting on it. I mean, we could be the they said
And not even know it.
Exactly.
And I think that's okay. So like, I guess where I figured we would start tonight is obviously with the OG conspiracy, the OG secret society. That would be the Illuminati.
Yeah.
You ever heard of it?
Have I ever heard of it? Have you ever gotten that message from Illuminati people? Yeah. What's her name just did it at the Super Bowl? Rihanna just did it.
Oh, yeah. They're all doing it.
At the end, yeah. I've gotten
Beyonce,
text
she's
messages
got a whole
before.
song.
Have you?
Yeah, but I figured that was like spam, like probably want your debit card. Like, join the Illuminati today. Give
My
us
name
your
is
debit.
Paul. Join the Illuminati. Oh, is it Paul? Okay.
All I want to know is, do I get to go to the all-inclusive Bohemian Club? Which we have to talk about Bohemian Grove. Are you familiar with that?
No, what? Please tell us about Bohemian Grove.
Oh, I'm going to tell you about the Bohemian
all
Grove.
about it.
We're going to talk about the Freemasons. We got to talk about the Skull and Bones. Talk about the Hells Angels. We're going to talk about SAGs.
Wow.
Or FAGs, Film Actor Guilds.
Oh, you were almost
Film
there.
Actor Guilds.
Almost there. It was almost, I almost had to take my earrings off for that one.
I just wanted to see the look on your face when I said FAGs. As an acronym.
It could be a whole pack of
As an
cigarettes,
acronym.
too.
Could be. Could be.
Oh, look at all you cigarettes out there.
Look at all you cigarettes out there. Oh, bunch
Yum.
of.
Now, is this stuff that you're going to tell us where I need to bolt my doors after? Because you mentioned a whole bunch of different groups, and I want to make sure.
At this point, just invite me to the meetings. Like, I'll fucking do it. I don't care. Just, I'll play along with you guys. Like, don't kill me. Like, I'll just play along with it, dude. Like, we'll go. I'll get naked. I'll do all your little pig blood shit. Just don't kill me. Just don't kill me. I'll sell my soul to stay alive.
I mean, if you get naked, nobody's going to kill you.
Well, you know what's weird about this?
What?
Is it's very male dominated and there's a lot of male nudity involved.
So is it like homoerotic kind of?
For some, maybe. For others, maybe not.
I mean, fraternities do that too, though. Like everything's pretty, really, kind of gay.
It is. Why is that?
I don't know. You tell me.
It's like remember like we all have AIDS. Like I have AIDS. I have AIDS. I have AIDS. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. We're all gay.
Yeah, it's like 80% of the population is like gay now.
My wife's going to listen to this and she's going to be like, oh, God, I knew it. I fucking knew it. After all
He's
those
not gay, I
nights
swear.
of pegging.
Oh
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. All right.
I knew somebody that did that, actually, side note, and they just walk around with this all day. Do you know that?
Oh, like a butt plug?
Yeah. I mean, that's a rabbit hole y'all can go in on your own. There's a whole society of on the society thing.
No, listen. When I was a cop, I've arrested many people with many things in their rectums. The one case that really comes to my mind was a man with a soup ladle in his bum, a whole soup ladle in there.
Why?
Not sure why. And he was really rich, in a really wealthy, very, very large home, and he had about $800. I mean, which is not a lot for crystal meth. Like, it's not a lot, but it was $800 worth of crystal meth.
Why is it always the rich people that are sticking things from their house up their butt?
Yeah, I don't know. He had
like
to take
he
it
could
out in the
afford a
bathtub.
dildo.
Yeah, it was. It's a lot. It's
Interesting.
a lot.
As we digress,
that's not where we're going with this show.
Yeah,
as we digress. But all right, we got to get serious. Anthony, get serious, dude. This is a serious podcast network that has tasked us with doing a real serious thing here. It's actually supposed to be a serious show.
Oh,
no
please.
Comedy.
Okay,
stop
fine.
it. You ready? Are you good now? Are you done?
Good.
You done with the jokes?
He let me have coffee today, guys.
All right, so the Illuminati. Like, one, I guess we have to prove, is Illuminati real? And the Illuminati did exist. And listen, tonight I can't get too far in the woods on this podcast. I can't do it, guys. We'll have to break this up into individual things. So we're only going to touch on things again, like we did in the history, because this will all come out in the wash over the next year. And if we continue to do another contract, we'll keep going. But for right now, like, I just have to touch on these things. And then you're just going to have to wait for us to cover them in depth, because we can literally go through the Illuminati for over an hour and do the whole history and the whole saga of the Illuminati for a whole hour. But then we would not be able to touch on the other secret societies today, which is like Skull and Bones, Freemasons, Hell's Angels. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clubs that can equal the they, and the point of today's show is to figure out who they is. And I think what I have come to determine, spoiler alert, is that the theys are a lot of different people that may not even know which side they're on or know that they're taking a side, but they're literally taking a side, and that'll make sense in just a second. And I'm a C student at best, but I have a pretty good head on my shoulders, and so I think I've looked at this pretty objectively. So, first of all, we have the Illuminati, which was a Bavarian guy. His name was Adam. I don't speak German, but it was like Adam Weishaupt is his name.
Bryson. I know they like. Yeah, it's very elf.
Which is Germany, right?
You
ever been to Germany?
I was just there.
Yeah, I know you were.
I was in Italy, and then I stopped in Germany for a day. Anxiety through the roof, bro.
Why?
Because they love lines. Like, they love everybody to be in a single file line when I was there. Like, they're like, God, and I'm like, oh, line? Okay. And
Did you
then
do one of these? Like,
I was like, now I know why you like lines. And then I was like, just very like out of my element, because I didn't understand anything. So I just ate sausage. I just ate sausage the whole time. Not the kind that y'all like, but the kind that they like.
All right, so this Adam Weishaupt, who names himself later as Spartacus. Yeah, he names himself Spartacus. He was this is like in the 1700s, and he was a law student, but he was a law student in church law. And again, I'm not going to get caught in the weeds here on facts. Like, if you want to learn all about Adam Weishaupt, fucking go down that rabbit hole and learn everything you want about this guy. He really existed. His name was Adam Weishaupt, and he wrote church law, specifically for Jesuits. He was in like a Jesuit church law thing, and he didn't like it. He didn't like that you couldn't mix science and religion, and he thought the two should be together. So he started finding other like-minded guys like himself, and he formed this secret society, which he called the Illuminati, and which was like illuminated, and basically it was to combat like kind of the term now would be bigots and Christians and the whatnots, but it was kind of like to thwart that. So he starts his own little secret society, and it grows very quickly with all of the like to-dos in the world. Like, all your artists, your creatives, all the scientists start joining, and it gets really, really, really big. And so big, like 2,500 members are in this secret society that he calls the Illuminati. He set up originally like this weird tier system for the Illuminati, which is kind of important for later because, you'll find out. But the 3 levels of the Illuminati, as he speaks it, was like you were a novice, like you were just learning to be kind of awaken. You're kind of learning to basically stop thinking like a Christian and to start thinking more scientifically.
Okay.
Then you could gain the rank of Mineral, or I don't know. And then Illuminated Minerval. Sorry, Minerval. I couldn't read my own handwriting.
I once knew a woman named Minerval.
No, you didn't.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, you didn't fuck no chick. Have you ever had sex with a girl ever?
Sure.
Sure.
No, really, yes. It was all right.
Nice.
I mean, it's not her name was Minerval.
No way.
No, not a
I don't know
name.
if you're serious.
That's the point. No, the first part, yes. The second part, never knew a woman named Minerval.
Okay. Well, Minerval means owl. So, like, it would be a very hippie thing. And I probably could see you hanging out with a bunch of hippies.
I love
that. Would just annoy the living shit out of me. Because I'll tell you right now, any girl that's named Minerval probably is somebody I would not get along with. Period.
She's somebody who right now is like measuring the length between the fence and the driveway of her neighbor's house.
Yes.
She used to be a hippie, but now she's the HOA manager in Florida.
They've all become that. Minerval is like, guys, listen, right now is not the time because Uranus is not aligned with Mars and my energy stone is black. So
we're in retrograde.
Fuck with me right now.
Your bonus hole is in retrograde.
Yes. And then you could get the rank of illuminated Minerval. Now this Minerval thing is about an owl, right? And Bohemian Grove has this famous thing about the owl. Then we have all the Drake. You know Drake?
Yeah.
You a Drake fan? You a Drake or Kanye guy, by the way?
Kanye got a little bit off the rails.
Yeah,
I think. Drake has just always been pretty cool. I mean, he's sexy. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. So Drake's got the owl tattoo, and then he's got the owl. Now, if you're following on YouTube, or if you want to look on our Night Shift TSI Instagram, we'll have these images up for you on there. But he's got his own owl brand, and it's very, very kind of like this is the entrance stone to Bohemian Grove. Again, it's the owl. They sacrifice like this epitaph to this owl. We're going to get into all of that here soon. It says, spiders come not here weaving, meaning like you're basically not here to do work. That's a Bohemian Grove thing. But here's like the original owl, which is like the owl of Athena. And it's she's kind of like the goddess of art. So I get it, right? Like, you know how we always talk about actors and actresses being involved in some kind of Illuminati, and they put a lot of Illuminati symbolism into their art pieces. A lot of the stuff that they do, though, yes, it symbolizes the Illuminati, but the Illuminati also uses all the symbols that were of art. So like the god of art, Athena, the checkerboards, which is like, yeah, there's like a lot.
I never knew to look out for the owl. So now y'all know.
So here we go. Like, here's another picture for you. Like, you have obviously the all-seeing eye, and you have all the actors doing it. So the problem with this and with the conspiracy is, and when we're talking about the Illuminati, it's like all the actors and actresses, for whatever reason, are overtly doing it. And there isn't a coincidence. They really are doing this. Now, I don't know if they're part of an Illuminati or not, but like they are definitely all in on promoting the symbolism of the Illuminati, and they know it's the symbolism of the Illuminati, which means they've studied somewhat of the Illuminati. So they have to know, because they couldn't put these symbols into their acts. Like, for instance, you know, all the pop culture things. Who's the one that just did all the, like, a whole Illuminati set where you had like the checkerboard and she came down from the ceiling. She has all the things on.
Was it Lady Gaga or?
Lady Gaga and Katy Perry.
Oh yeah.
Katy Perry.
Oh,
yes. So, but like Katy Perry and
Jay-Z
and Rihanna even mentions the Illuminati in her songs. So like there's like every single symbol of that set, was filled with secret society, specifically Illuminati symbolism. And Freemason symbolism, which Freemason and Illuminati are different, but they come from the same place, because this Adam Weishaupt was actually recruiting people from the Freemasons, and the Freemasons like dates back a long time ago when they decided and they determined that they needed guilds for things. Now, so like let me make that make sense. Let's say that Failure to Stop, that's the network we belong to, and they have a lot of podcasts on their network. And let's just say that they were like the gods of podcast networks, and they have like the Ashley Flowers of podcast networks. And so they decided they had all the best podcasters, but the technology was absent of other humans. So like nobody else really knows how to create a podcast. Only like, let's say I created Failure to Stop. Let's just pretend like I did. And I hold this knowledge of podcasting that nobody else holds. Or like, it could be anything, Anthony. It could be like hat making, okay?
Sure.
But you own that knowledge. And so then I teach you how to do it. And then I teach another guy how to do it. And I teach another guy how to do it. And then I tell them this is a trade secret. You can't tell anybody else how to podcast. This is our thing. We own all the rights to podcasting. So if anybody else wants to have a podcast, they have to come through us. And they basically have to kind of do what we want to do. Like they have to play by our terms and our things because it's our technology. We own it. And now they have to play by our rules or they're not going to be in on it. So it's not necessarily a secret society, but it is something that we can control, and it becomes very controlling. And
Culty.
So very culty. And so the Freemasons were bricklayers, but they had other people that were out trying to make bricks that they were like not very good at it. And so if you were considered a Freemason and you kind of had this, you kind of had this bravado about you, or not bravado, but you had this reputation that, so he's part of the Freemasons. He can really lay bricks. He can really design something beautiful and creative. And so it was like basically a guild of Masons. And that's kind of how the society, and then it became more or less like a networking group. And I was doing some research on this. Again, this is why I'm saying it's such a vast rabbit hole of knowledge that you could probably, some of the facts I might be getting wrong, but they don't really take away from the totality. It's not like false information, but like one of the like OG symbols of this or historical examples of this were people who could make these canoes. Like these Indians, this one Indian dude made this skiff, this like canoe type skiff, and he held the knowledge, and then he would teach somebody else, but it had to be maintained a secret. Well, once he had the secret of canoes, this was very powerful because they could raid other tribes, they could fish, they could kind of like monopolize while everybody else is trying to fish from the shore. They're catching bigger fish out. They can travel now. They can spread their own tribal like influences on other tribes. And so these people wanted the boats, but this guy knew like, if I start giving this out, then I'm going to start having battles with people. So he kept this knowledge like very secret, and it was like a very secret society of people who knew how to make boats.
Wow.
Right. And they contained a lot of power. And so like, are they Illuminati? No. Right. Like, is the Freemasons Illuminati? No. But the Freemasons over time became like this networking group, the who's who, similar, exactly, not even similar, but exactly like fraternities are also great examples of societies that are basically networking societies. So if we think about the Illuminati or Freemasons as a chamber of commerce, there you go. That's the example I'm looking for. Have you ever been part of the Chamber of Commerce in any town that you've lived in?
I've not personally been a part. Well, I mean, technically, when I was a store manager for a certain retail store, we were part of the chamber, and because I was a store manager, I would yes. So
a perfect example of this is when I opened up my distillery, Instill Distilling Company, in the town. I was literally approached by a woman who said, "Your business is having a soft opening, I see. Have you joined the Chamber of Commerce?" And I said, "No, I have not joined the Chamber of Commerce." No, at the time, the real reason why I didn't join the Chamber, we didn't have any money. I didn't have like $350 to pay for whatever. And I said, "No, I don't." She's like, "Well, you can't be a successful small business in this town without the Chamber."
Oh.
Okay. And I was like, Now, I have said that to other people in the chamber, and they said that she just misspoke, and that's not what she means, and that I misinterpreted her things. But I really felt like everybody was like really defensive when I brought it up. Like, no, it's not how it works. Now, do I think the Chamber of Commerce is a secret society out to get you? No. But what happens in the thing like the Chamber of Commerce, much like the Illuminati, is you have a realtor that joins the Chamber of Commerce, your local chamber. You have a podcaster. You have a roofer. You have a plumber. And they all join the chamber. And the more that they do with the chamber, the more they get higher rank in the chamber. And therefore, their networking becomes almost like more... Well, they become leaders of the chamber. They become leaders of the community. Therefore, networking is like, if you want plumbing, you got to go through Anthony because he's the man. And if you have a roofer, you have a plumber, you have restaurant owners, you have distillery owners, you have brewery owners, you have wine shop owners. If you have all these people in the chamber, you have, anytime somebody says, well, who should I get a plumber to? Like maybe they're talking to the baker. Oh, I'm in the bakery and I need to get a plumber. And then the baker says, who's a part of the chamber, says, hey, wait, you're looking for a roofer? I know a guy. Here's his name right here. Mm-hmm. And so the Chamber of Commerce basically gives you all the business. Now, let's say you don't play by the chamber rules. Let's say you're pretty popular in the chamber, but somebody wants to lobby against you in the chamber and they say, hey, listen, you're a really good real estate agent, but you're only really good because everybody on the chamber pushes you. And I know that you've been sleeping with so-and-so and I'll burn you down. Or you can sign this grant money to this soccer club. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe that's an exaggerated scenario, but it can happen on a smaller scale to where all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to fall out of favor. So how far am I willing to go to please the chamber? Now, Anthony, listen, you haven't been in our 7:30 meetings and I'd really hate for you to not be the number one podcast guy. Yeah, be Clinton. Again. No, so what I'm saying, the proof of the pudding here is that these are massive networking groups. And the Illuminati is like tier 1. Now, this is what I've gathered. This is my perception of trying to do this. We've been tasked, Anthony, to learn this shit, and I can only learn it as I see it, and I can't go to other people to learn it. I have to learn this for myself, or else I'll be indoctrinated by their beliefs. So I'm doing this I'm like going to Wikipedia, I'm going to YouTube, I'm going to podcasts, I'm going to articles, I'm going to the Library of Congress, which I actually went to the Library of Congress and I looked up
I'm so
the
impressed.
oldest. Are you impressed? I wanted to know, is there any documents in history that mention the Illuminati, and how far back does it go? And are you ready for what I found?
Please,
dude, this is gonna blow you away, huh?
BC.
Before Christ. Yeah, it was the aliens that built the.
Yeah, I mean that sounds.
No, this is a real document. So this is to William Russell from George Washington.
Wow. Okay.
First president, much?
Right.
You ever heard of him?
I mean, pull out a dollar bill.
This was written on September 28th of 1798. All right. I'm going to skip the... no, I'm sorry. He sent this to Reverend G.W. Snyder. I'm sorry. So this is to Reverend G.W. Snyder. It doesn't matter who the fuck that is. September 25th, 1798. 1798.
Doesn't matter who the fuck that is.
I don't. It doesn't really matter. Go look it up yourself if you want to. For those of you who we're going to fact check every minute of this and see where I went. Good. I will reference everything. Reverend G.W. Snyder, and you can find this at ioc.gov. This is Library of Congress, LOC. What did I say?
You know
IOC,
that woman,
LOC.
Minerva, is going to fact check
Minerva's like, oh my God, these conservatives, conspiracy theorists. It has nothing to do with, we're like, listen, we are not like right wing or left wing in this. Because as you'll find out after today's episode, everybody's wrapped up in these secret societies. And that's true. That's not a theory. That is a fact.
No, yeah, that's both. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to show you that it's fact. So don't get butthurt. Literally. Sir, many apologies are due to you for my not acknowledging the receipts of your obliging favor of the 22nd Alto, and for not thanking you at an earlier period for the book you had the goodness to send me. All right, I just wanted to read that in that lingo. So here he goes. I have heard much of the nefarious and dangerous plan and doctrines of the Illuminati, but never saw the book until you were pleased to send it to me. The same causes which have prevented my acknowledging the receipt of your letter have prevented my reading the book. Here, though, namely, the multiplicity of matters which pressed upon me before, and the deliberated state in which I was left after, a severe fever had been removed, and which allows me to add little more now, and thanks for your kind wishes and favorable sentiments, except to correct an error you have run into of my presiding over the English lodges in this country. Now, the English lodges he's referring to are the Freemason lodges.
Got it.
I did some research. Okay. The facts is I preside over none, nor have I been in one more than once or twice within the last 30 years. I believe, notwithstanding, that none of the lodges in this country are contaminated with the principles ascribed to the Society of the Illuminati. So that is a message that George Washington sent in response to a book that had been sent to him, kind of saying
in
that,
1778.
1798.
Oh, sorry, 1790. So that was mentioned for the first time in 1798.
Well, in the United States.
Okay.
From somebody that would have something in the Library of Congress.
Got it. Okay.
You know, does that make sense? Like historically?
Yeah.
But now I did some back research, right? So I started there and I said, okay, the Illuminati in the United States, but the Illuminati was started in Bavaria. How the fuck would it have gotten to the United States? And why would they be talking about has this country's lodges been contaminated with the Illuminati and the false teachings and the false preachings? Because the Illuminati in Europe had been chased out of Europe. And here is why. Now, this is insane.
Faith. No, I don't know.
You ready?
Yeah.
In 1777, Charles Theodore took the throne of Bavaria, now Germany. And he was one of the highest ranking at the time Illuminati members. And he brought with him for the first time to Bavaria very liberal ideologies. This is according to a history book.
Uh-huh.
So you go look him up. Charles Theodore, 1777, son of the. He was so left-leaning, so liberal, so sciencey, and anti-Christian that they not only chased him out, but they made it illegal to be a part of any secret society. And so Adam Weishaupt had to go into hiding, and he fled Bavaria. He fled Germany. But you don't think for one second that this Adam Weishaupt just stopped the Illuminati right there? He was chased out of one town in Bavaria because of this king that they got on the throne, that they infiltrated, and that they were chased out. Do you think he just gave up, or do you think he could have caught wind of a new world, which is on the dollar bill at the time? The new world, right? It's a new world. A bunch of people trying to flee religious persecution, to be able to have freedom to do what they wanted to do, freedom from religion, right? They wanted to be Quakers. They wanted to be other things. You know, we like to think of the New World as like just some kind of a Christian movement, but it really wasn't. These were like the French folk that wanted to get away, which is the rebellious folk, which is really cool as you think about it. It was all the people who were like you and I are now, where we kind of question everything. We're kind of like, I don't know if I want the vaccine. I don't know if I want to wear these masks.
Well,
I don't know if I want to just fall lockstep.
Yeah, because there's always there's like an ulterior motive. There's an agenda.
So these folks went to the New World, right? And so there's this whole new world that's going through its own revolution that's trying to break apart from I'm not a historian, so don't again.
I mean, everyone's definitely going to think you are.
No, I'm not. I can only say this as the 1 week of diving into this and trying to learn as much as I can without stealing from a whole bunch of other people and really just making my own podcast. This is what I've come up with. C student at best. So I feel like in 1777, if he was to be kicked out of Bavaria and he was to leave, he would have to start infiltrating other Freemasonries, because that's where he, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but where he was stealing people from the Freemasons to join the Illuminati. People who were kind of tired of the Freemason bullshit, the religious bullshit that was going on in the Freemason stuff, and he was snatching them from the Freemasons.
Right.
So you don't think that he was going to maybe try to steal from other Freemasons in Europe and potentially? Sure. Because here is the thing and the main goal. He was able in a very short amount of time to recruit 2,500 Freemasons into the Illuminati. And once you get into this group, if you're a part of any group, whether it be a church, whether it be the Hells Angels, whether it be a Chamber of Commerce, what are your soldiers' main purpose?
To stand guard, to fight.
No, that wrong.
Your
Soldiers.
soldiers.
Sorry. I shouldn't use the word soldiers. And what your lower ranking folks in the Chamber of Commerce, they're always tasked with, and if you've been a part of the chamber, if you've been a part of a motorcycle club, I'm absolutely 100% on this. I've been in multiple Chamber of Commerces and Rotary clubs and everything else, and church. Your lower underlings, your youth groups,
spread the message.
Church, spread the message.
Yeah, spread the message
more. Now, just because you recruit more doesn't mean that you're necessarily one of the bad guys. Met a Hell's Angel one time at a veterans charity event. He had the ball ping hammer on his vest, and he had his little.
This is the motorcycle group.
Yes,
right?
The Hell's Angels. Yep, Hell's Angels.
Okay.
I said, hey man, like I see, he was on the 9th hole at this veterans golf event. I said, I see you got the ball ping hammer. Are you Hell's Angel? And he says, well, I'm a prospect, and I'm currently affiliated with, which is all terminology is like being recruited and everything. And I said, well, I mean, why are you guys sponsoring a hole at a veterans golf tournament? And he's like, oh, well, I mean, the Hells Angels do a lot for charity and we do a lot for veterans. We do a lot of things. So this soldier, as I like to call them, you should probably call them peasants, right? Like,
right.
Your youth groups are really just peasants. Your deacons and your elders are like the folks running the show. But this guy, he doesn't know that there are conspiracies that, I was reading newspaper articles this week from 2 weeks ago where 2 Hells Angels were arrested for conspiring to murder somebody. I read that 18 in 2015 were arrested for conspiracy to commit murder and for committing murder. So these soldiers, necessarily when they come in the door in the ranks, they can have large numbers of Hells Angels. It doesn't mean all of them are the shot callers. So when we talk about you've got to remember that there are shot callers even in a church, right? They don't want us to learn these songs. Well, who is they? They would be the deacons, the elders, and the pastor. And sometimes the pastor is appointed by the elders and doesn't really have a lot of say in day-to-day church activities because he's just the pastor.
Right.
It's the elders who run the church. And so there is a they everywhere we go, in every single club, in every single society. There is, in fact, always a they that knows something that you don't know. So you're in church, you're singing these hymnals, but you don't know who chose those hymnals for you. And you don't know why you can't sing other hymnals.
Good point. Yep.
It's the same. It's the same way as we talk about they in the government. It doesn't have to be the Illuminati. It doesn't but it can be certain fraternities like the Skull and Bones Society out of Yale. Ever heard of Yale?
Oh yeah, that's a whole society.
So the Skull and Bones Society was started in Yale in 1832. And Yale's very prestigious, right? So that's where all your smartest of the smarts, your elites, like these are your this is your top tier dudes are going to Yale.
Yeah, they're paid. I mean, they paid to be there, but that's just my opinion.
Maybe now, but I think back then that we had a little bit more discipline behind our country.
Fair.
But I mean, there were people with a lot of money. The ruling elite were able to send their kids there, right? So like Rockefellers, John Kerry, Prescott Bush, George Bush, Paul Giamatti was Skull and Bones. You know Paul Giamatti?
Yes.
Great actor. So the Skull and Bones, again, now you have an elite class of individuals. And when I say elite, I guess I don't mean the smartest of the smart, but like what you said, the people who can afford to be there. And the people who can afford to be there are the ones who run the shit.
Right.
Because like even your master carpenters in the 1800s, these like badass wood builders, cabin builders, they weren't at a society, they weren't at a class. They worked really hard and they built a lot of things, but they weren't rich.
Right.
They weren't going to Yale. And yes, they are smarter, but these other rich people who have patents, who have lands, who came over from England and they're kind of like born into this very like Europe style system of class.
Mm-hmm.
Like they brought that with them here to the New World, and they still roll off of that, like the Biltmores,
Right.
the Rockefellers. And so you have these very influential or people of influence with lots of money going to Yale. So they are the decision makers. So yeah, you have the carpenter that's building shit, but then you have the decision makers at Yale who say you can't build on that land because that land's going to be owned by the government because we're going to put a railroad through it. And he's like, yo, what? So these are very influential people going to Yale, and they start an even more influential group called the Skull and Crossbones. Like, they're even like bringing it in. It's like you have the Navy, then you have the Combat Navy, then you have the SWIC, the SWIC guys in Navy, then you have the SEALs, and then you have SEAL Team 6. It just gets more and more elite. Very simple to understand this concept if you look at it the way I'm looking at it, Big Bird to Cookie Monster. So you got these dudes, they're in Yale, they're elite. Now they've gotten even more elite by going into this Skull and Crossbones thing. And then since they're in the Skull and Crossbones, now we've talked about that Chamber of Commerce networking group that I've mentioned at the beginning of the show. Because now we have a very elite network of individuals. You've got boat makers, you've got shingle makers, you got dudes that invented the siren.
Yeah.
You got all these like super top people, and now you've got them all in this very secret society together, and the networking is invaluable. You want to be a president? We can make you a president because we're all in this together, and we all are the most influential people.
Oh, you said we're all in this together.
Yeah, we're the most elite of the elite. So we can now network you, but then we're always going to have strife inside of that too, right? Like the Hells Angels fight each other. You had the Bloods and the Crips. Bloods split off into like United Blood Nation, or the UBN, United Blood Nation. They have the Gangsters Disciples. All these sects of gangs have broken into their own thing. Just like
a lot
church,
about
Christians,
gangs.
Catholics. I was a cop for a long time.
Oh, that's right.
You know a lot about. No, I'm just kidding. So you got all these, the gangs, but they fight amongst each other. Same with a church, any kind of organization or secret society, and then these split off into different groups. So not to say that the Freemasons are some kind of New World Order, or the Illuminati is the New World Order, or the Skull and Crossbones is the New World Order, but what you have is a massive network of very, very important people that have been networking for over 100 years together. These families have been putting themselves into positions of power in the United States since the arguably the late 1700s, but definitely all throughout the 1800s. I mean, everybody was in these either Freemasons. George Washington was given a Freemason death, and all this is a networking community. And if you're not part of that community, you cannot be successful. If you're not part of the Chamber of Commerce, we will not host events at your place. So you'll never make it. You'll never make any money.
Do you believe that that's still going on now?
Well, of course.
I mean, you mentioned the Chamber of Commerce thing, but on a bigger level.
So, how about the SAGs, the Screen Actors Guild? You don't play by our rules. 100%. You will not be a successful actor.
But they're all related. So all of Hollywood is somehow connected, related. They were the kids of this person that was the kid. Like no normal folk can just become a Hollywood millionaire actor.
It's very difficult. It happens,
but that shouldn't be that way, and people need to wake up. That shouldn't be that way,
right?
Where your uncle was the director, producer of one of the biggest blockbuster movies, and now you were a little kid, and your godmother is one of the best actresses from the 1960s who gave money to that's. If you listen to all the stories in Hollywood and all this crap, I mean, look at like Julia Roberts. Like her whole entire family has a legacy of, Hollywood. Like they're all actors. Like that doesn't happen by accident. Right. They're all, Anderson Cooper. He's a Rothschild.
Is it really? I do know that. I didn't know he was a Rothschild, but I did know that we got to do a whole episode on Anderson Cooper because there's some really fun
everybody. And for our listeners, y'all can go do your own homework because this is a rabbit hole you can go on your own. I'm not gonna dive into it, but Katy Perry, I believe, was JonBenet Ramsey. So you can go ahead and take it.
Oh, we're going way down there. We're going way down the rabbit hole.
Deep one. Yeah, I think.
All right, so here we go. We want to talk about the Skull and Bones. This is the network that I'm trying to talk about. So here are some of the people that you would find in this network, this unbelievable network that you never want to leave or be blackballed from. Because you have people like Christopher Buckley. He's the chief speechwriter for George Bush Sr. and many, many other politicians. You have senior rabbi. The senior rabbi is a Skull and Crossbones and out of New York. Several journalists, more than I can list. Most of your journalists, your big journalists on CNN and even Fox, so many of them have been Skull and Crossbones. Tons of actors. Like I said, Paul Giamatti was one that I listed. And then when you had Freemasons, I mean, you had Ben Franklin, Churchill, Roosevelt, Jesse Jackson, Steve Wolt. The list goes on and on. So if you've got everything locked down as a part of your secret society. So you've got your speechwriters locked in. You're going to be a speechwriter for the president. You know everything that we're trying to do in this secret society. And what did I say that the Illuminati's thing was to do? Was to preach. That means they have an agenda of science. So all of these things. So the Skull and Crossbones had an agenda to start. They were breaking away from something. They wanted to be a club because they wanted to have their ideology and their ideals be the most popular, and that's why they created their own club. We created a podcast
I'm literally
network.
like looking at it while we're talking about it.
Yeah. If we wanted to create our own podcast network, which we did, the Failure to Stop podcast channel, it is because we broke away from mainstream media to start something that was friendly to first responders and veterans, and we could speak to them in a way that, because most of your podcasts are very left-leaning, especially in true crime and in conspiracies. A lot of liberals, a lot of left-leaning and stuff, and with a lot of political jokes and stabs. When we don't really need to have political stabs and jabs, but for whatever reason, these left-leaning, very left-leaning podcasts can't help but their entire podcast, even if it's unrelated, make jabs at conservatives or Republicans or Christians or the type. So, Anthony and I's goal is to not really take so many jabs, but just to kind of tell these stories. But if you're developing this this network of that share the same ideologies and ideals, then it would be very simple to know that, like, if there was a plan for a new world order or something like that they could fall in to one of these things. But what I took from all of this, to not get too wackadoodle on you guys, is that there are a lot of secret societies, and these secret societies all fall on networking. Vast networking to get the best jobs in the biz. And all of your Hollywood elites are in these things. And there is a thing called Bohemian Grove. I'm going to play a clip for you right here. If Josh can cue it up. This is a clip from way back in the day before Alex Jones was way off the rails. This was when he infiltrated Bohemian Grove, and this is what he saw. This is real video, and this is what put Alex Jones in the map back in the 90s. Regardless of what you think about him now, this was a real video that he took in the 90s, and I believe he was sober at the time. He wasn't like a full-blown alcoholic at the time. Go ahead and hit the play on this video. Now, for those of you who are listening, 99% of you, this is a massive lawn, an amphitheater of hundreds of people at Bohemian Grove sitting around a massive, it thing looks like it's 30 feet tall, 40 feet tall, wooden carving of an owl. And that was the owl, as we talked about in the Illuminati, which was the Minerval, right? The Minerval, the owl, as we spoke. Now, go ahead and stop. Now, during this, this whole thing got broke loose. This is a ritual that they do at Bohemian Grove every year, and it's allegedly to be letting go of yourself and to be illuminated. And it's all it has to do with is all the Illuminati stuff. You can look it up yourself and go down that rabbit hole. We don't have time to do it on this episode. But what they do here is they take a fake child that you see on this video. It is a fake child, maybe somewhere between a baby and 3 years old. And it's an effigy and it looks like a real human being, and they sacrifice this fake human being to the owl on this video. Now, this is a real video. Now, Bohemian Grove and the Bohemian Club is a club in San Francisco only for the elites. Oh, you have to be invited there. And to get into the Bohemian Club, there are no women after 5 o'clock p.m. allowed on the grounds. And it was basically a club for men. It's been like this for like 100 years. And where men can do, and they can't talk, kind of like, they can do whatever they want. And nobody will talk about it. You can do whatever you want on this property, and it won't be talked about. And there's lots of nudity and lots of rituals like this. Now, this is what's crazy. You ready for this, Ant?
I just
Hold
found
on.
some. Yep.
Hold on.
Yeah.
To what you got. Would you find something?
Yeah. Did you look at the list of names throughout the centuries that are all part of this cross the bones?
Yeah, I did. There was so many. Which ones did you find interesting?
Did you know that John Kerry and the Bushes were too?
Yeah, that's the first ones I mentioned. Yeah, John Kerry and Bush were both, and that was the only time in history that two Bones and Skulls, or Skull and Bones Society members ever ran against each other in a race, which leads to a whole nother conspiracy that was rigged to go that way. So that no matter what, a Skull and Bonesman was a president. Yeah, and then there's a reason why that like other societies have like made it where that doesn't happen again, which might be why the Bushes were so like, and then the Clintons became so like.
Oh, and Tali Weinstein. I don't know if that is related to Weinstein.
Well, there's going to be a lot of Weinsteins and other Steins because it's a very Jewish populated thing. Now, here's something interesting. I know. I think it was the Skull and the Skull and Bones didn't let gay people in until like the 90s.
But they all run around naked.
Right,
bunch of dudes.
Right.
I know that was the same thing with like the Roman times. I know.
They didn't let black people either.
Oh, okay.
But now I think they do let black people do. But anyway, so this
ain't no black person gonna join that group, bro.
Well,
you'd be like, there's a bunch of dudes running around naked. That's some white people shit.
There are a lot of black people that have joined the Freemasons, and if you remember, the Illuminati has always, historically, has recruited from the Freemasons, and there are a lot of black Freemasons at this point in time currently. But anyway, so the Bohemian Grove thing here, I was a sommelier and a certified specialist of wine while I was a cop, and I got to hang out with some really elite folks. And I'm not going to use their names right now because I don't want them to be tied into this because they're not. But I was working with another Somm. And this is years and years and years ago. And this guy told me, now I didn't know, I'd never heard the word Bohemian Grove. This is, I don't know, 2013-ish, 2014. So there wasn't really like QAnon, wasn't mainstream yet. Conspiracy shit wasn't. Yeah, it was none of that was on my brain. The only conspiracies I really believed at the time was that JFK didn't kill himself.
Thank you.
But okay, so this sommelier tells me, I said, how is it being a Somm in California, especially around the San Francisco area? And the guy at the time was like, man, it's wild. And I said, how is it compared to being here in North Carolina? And he says, well, in California, dude, I go to some really weird fucking parties as a Somm. And I said, like, weird, what kind of parties? He's like, dude, like every other weekend I'm at a party where it's like an orgy or there's fucking naked people or whatever. And if you know Somms don't really cuss when they're in uniform, when they're in suit and tie. Because even the sommelier program is a very secret society. It really is. Master sommeliers, there's only 250 in the world currently. And it's very hard to get into that. And there's a lot that goes into that. And I said, well, dude, what? And he was like, I worked at this place called the Bohemian Club, the Bohemian Grove, Bohemian Club. And I said, okay. And he was like, so they pick you up in a car, and when you're on your way over there, they tell you to not look around, to not recognize anybody. And if you do recognize anybody, don't ever speak of it. Don't ever speak of who you saw or what you saw here. You're going to get out of this car and you're going to walk in a straight line behind us. Don't look to your left and to your right, and you're going to go straight to a bar. You're going to serve wine all night, whatever wine they want. You have the full keys to the cellar, and you pull whatever wine that they want, and you pour as much of it as they want. There is no limit. There is no cap. If they want to go blind drunk and have alcohol poisoning, that is not up to you. you just pour the wine, and then when you're ready to leave, if you got to go to the bathroom, you'll let us know. We'll take you to the bathroom, and you have to sign this NDA, and then they search you at the door. Now, this is in 2013, so cell phones were a pretty big deal then. And he says, yeah, so I would go there. And he was like, it was the craziest thing, dude. And he was like, brother, this is 2013. I'd never heard of Bohemian Club. He was like, some guys would be in shirt and tie. Other guys would be completely butt naked. And they would want like very obscure wines. I'd go back into the cellar. I would pull the wines. I would pour the wines for them. But like some guys would be standing in clusters together. Some would be clothed. Some would just be butt naked. There was definitely no women there. The women aren't allowed on the property. When I left, like I was given a very strict, like what I couldn't talk about. And I was like, so are you even allowed to tell me that you were there? And he was like, yeah, I just couldn't say like who I saw there or anything. He's like, but I didn't really recognize anybody anyway. And he's like, but when I was leaving, there was a man in the front, the parking area, just taking a shit. Naked, just sitting out there taking a shit. Some old guy just squatting, taking a shit out in the front yard. But essentially, you can do whatever you want at this Bohemian Club. And this is a real club that you can really go to. You have to be.
This is true, by the way. I've heard a similar story about this.
Now,
actually,
here's the thing.
Firsthand, somebody that was at the party.
Ooh, are you allowed to tell the story?
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. But
I don't even know if I was allowed to tell the story.
But when you said that, I was like, ooh, I've heard this in the political realm because obviously, as we've uncovered, there's political people within that.
Right.
The whole society.
Right.
And I've heard that this is something that's actually goes on.
Oh, it's 100% goes on. It's not a theory. The Bohemian Club, I mean, at this point, Bohemian Grove, it's a Wikipedia page now. You can look it all up. But now Wikipedia will shut it down. There's very conspiracy theorists, like only wackadoodles, blah, 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 blah. It's just a guys club. It's been around since, 18, whatever. And it's just, for the boys. It's a boys club. Nothing nefarious goes on there. However, we just saw this video. That's a real video of them doing a fake epitaph, a killing of a fake child in front of an owl. Now that's hundreds of influential people. Why are they sacrificing anything to a false god? Now, like, I know that not everybody's Christian, but you are at that point accepting some kind of a faith in some kind of a spiritual being, and you can agree to disagree. If you're not religious out there, that's fine. We'd love to hear about it, guys, because we're only people. We'd love to hear about it on our social media. That's Night Shift TSI. Go find it. Send us some DMs. Like, we're so small. We're small enough and new enough that we'll probably be able to answer most of your DMs on here. But, they are kind of saying that we believe in this God in some way or another, right? And go ahead, do it if you want to, but why would you want to? Like, why would you want to why would you want to be a part of a club that does a sacrifice of a child?
Protection. They're protecting them. Or networking. Yep.
Yeah. They want to do this
100%.
because it's the who's who. Anthony, do you want to be the biggest political commentator?
No, not like that.
Blah, blah, blah. Listen, I got a great networking opportunity, man. It's a really great dinner. You're going to meet some really cool people. Hey, come on over, man. Like, we're going to give you a ticket. We're going to pick you up in a car.
Mm-mm.
Well, because know now. But, I mean, think about this. If you would have done this show 10 years ago,
you would have
10 years ago,
idea.
Anthony, you wouldn't have known better. You wouldn't have known about Bohemian Grove.
I mean, I don't know. I what would you do if you showed up there? Like, what? I mean,
well, I got invited to an orgy, with an influencer group.
There. Oh, okay, cool.
It's an influencer group, an influencer group. Like, I can talk offline which influencers are in it. I can't do it online.
Okay, all right.
But
okay, cool.
When I was working for a podcast network, one of the guests on one of the shows, is a very influential person, said, "You have a distillery?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, can we buy some of your rum?" I said, "Sure, we're having a party. Would you like to come?" I said, "Sure." And they said, "Cool. We're going to send you a private message, and then you're going to sign in, and it's like one of those WhatsApp type deals."
Right.
And then we will send you an address and everything when the day of the party and where it's going to be. And so all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 days before this party, I start getting like, here's where you fly into, here's what car is going to pick you up, here's where you're going to go. And then there's a house and everything like that. So I'm thinking I'm like the coolest guy on the planet. I'm like, yo, I'm in. I'm about to blow up. Like, I can't believe this girl is inviting me to this party. Like, this is
okay.
rad.
We know it was a girl. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's a girl. And I show up to the door, and you have to turn in your phone at the door. It's a massive house, big giant house, like what you would expect for an influencer to have. Big house. And when they opened the door, it was a topless female that opened the door and welcomed me by name, invited me in. I turned in my phone. I go into this house. They have all the, like, dude, badass food, like lobster tails everywhere. There was like a couch. There was like a shaman that was like leading people like DMT
a shaman
trips. Yeah, like fucking straight up. There was a couch. It was like a couch, like the really low couches that you like sit Indian style on, and it was like very U-shaped. And there was like a dude, and like there was just guys on this couch like this, like just going on a trip. I don't know what they were tripping on, but they were full on tripping.
Oh my god!
Now listen,
these are influencers,
bro. I'll offline. We'll talk about it. So I end up going outside, and there is the chief of a major department of a major city at this thing. And he finds out that I was a cop. And he was like, well, I'm Chief so-and-so. And I was like, currently, Chief? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, I hang out with blah, 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 which was another big influencer. And I was like, oh, you know her. And I mean, basically, like, these are like OnlyFans famous, like Instagram, TikTok famous chicks. And it's wild, dude. And I'm like, man, this is so cool, And I'm like, but this is wild. So then I'm starting to feel weird, though. Like, I'm starting to feel like there's a little bit more nudity than I thought there was going to be. Like, definitely like the drugs. And there wasn't like hard drugs. It wasn't like cocaine or heroin or anything like that. Like, this was definitely like,
just acid and weed. Great.
Like peyote or something. I don't know.
Oh my really God, that's a hard drug, isn't it?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is the food was amazing. And it was plentiful.
A+.
Oh, God, it was amazing.
Recommend. 10 out of 10. Recommend.
And everybody there was beautiful. Like, everybody there was just amazingly beautiful.
The TikTok house, right?
And yes, dude. And but there was a lot of nudity and stuff. So I'm sitting outside where there was less nudity. And I'm talking to this chief, and we start talking, and we meet this other guy, and this is crazy. So then they go inside, and I'm gonna leave now because I needed to leave. Like, it was getting a little bit weird, and I didn't want to be there too late. And I was like,
this is where it got weird. Okay, continue.
Okay, it gets weirder than this, dude. So she goes, before you go, we have to do our ceremony upstairs, and then you can go.
I know you're fucking lying. What?
Bro, okay, like, I'm not.
All right.
I'm not lying. I'm telling you.
No, I believe you. Okay, continue.
All right, so I go upstairs, and we get in a circle around a stripper pole, and this stripper comes out and just fucking strips in front of everybody, grinds on this pole, humps the floor, does all the things like a really hot stripper would do. And then that was it. And then like they did like a thank you for coming tonight. It's going to be a very wild night. If anybody wants to leave, like now's the time to go because it's really going to turn up in here. And you're going to all have to sign. If you're staying past here, you have to sign an NDA. And
the NDA didn't happen before because this is all a lot already.
Hang on. Not on this one.
Oh shit.
So like it was just like a dinner, like leading into this thing. So I was just there for like the dinner portion. So I'm like, all right, I'm not signing the NDA. I want my phone back. I want to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Plus I'm not a night owl. So I leave. And I tell my wife all about it. I'm like, yo, this was crazy. This is what happened. This was gnarly. There's another crazy story about that happened on my way out. That was crazy. I'll tell you offline. So, okay. So then a year later, dude, I get a call, and this is how it happens. And it's a Halloween thing. And they're like, we're going to buy a crazy amount of my rum.
Yeah.
And they order a crazy amount. Like, you're going to be the exclusive rum this year at our big blowout Halloween. This person's going to be there. 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 And you're the only rum that's going to be there. And I'm like, boom, dude, this is sick.
This is like out of a movie. Okay.
So I'm jacked, right? I tell my wife, she's like, dude, this is great. It's great for business. It's great for all of us.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we're going to send you a new app and we want you to come to the Halloween thing. And at this point, I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna do that. So I say, okay, well, thanks, but I have to run my bar. It's Halloween, and they said, we bought a lot of rum from you guys, and at least at the beginning of the night, we'd like have somebody there to represent, to just kind of, exact words, show you off as to our guest as the distiller of this rum. So I'm like,
creepy.
okay, all right, I'll go, because like now I can like network. Huh?
Sure.
I can network. I can say like I'm the distiller, and now all these influencers are going to taste my rum. It's going to be epic. I'm going to get like thousands of followers, and my rum distillery is going to blow up from this. So I get there, and I knock on the door, and big yoke dude, totally different from the first time I went. Remember, it was just a topless girl the first time.
Oh, no.
Now it's a big yoke dude, and he's like, I need your phone, and you have to sign this paper. And I was like, the way he said it made me mad. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that, homie. Exactly like I said, I'm not going to do that, homie. But you can go get and tell her that I was here and that I said hello. And, I'm sorry I couldn't come in there, but I'm definitely not signing any paperwork or turning in my phone. And so he was like, slams the door. So I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. So I start to walk down the long driveway, and the door flings open. She yells my name. And she's like, come on. And she was like, you can keep your phone. Don't sign the NDA. That's fine. Just please don't take any pictures. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I go in, and there's nobody there. But I can hear loud pornography going on somewhere. And she's like, are you hungry? And I was like, sure. This full nude woman comes up with, again, like some kind of extravagant. I don't want to say what the meal was at this point, because like, I feel like they probably want to keep that secret for some reason.
Okay.
Because it's a very odd dish. But I was like blown away, because it's not a dish that I've really had. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Bro.
Not even sure, like how legal it is or if they're in season or what, but like I'm down.
What the?
Yeah. Crazy, right? So she's butt naked. I'm standing down there, and this guy who kind of like coordinates all of this, he's an Asian guy, cool guy though, very nice guy. And he's like, are you comfortable? And I was like, yes sir, I'm doing good. And he's like, how is the dish? And I was like, man, this is really great. And he's like, okay. And he's like, just really quick, I don't want you to be offended or anything, but there is an orgy taking place upstairs. Does that offend you? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not offended. He's like, would you like to go upstairs and be a part of it? And I was like, no, sir. And he was like, I know you're married and you have kids, and I would never want to get in the way of that. I just felt like I wanted to ask to be a good host. And I said, no, you're a perfect host. Thank you for the beer and thank you for, for the food. Thank you. And he was like, okay, if you need anything, let me know. So he goes away. Now I'm downstairs again by myself in this massive house with this woman who's butt naked holding on to this food. And she's like, so where are you from?
Just nonchalant talking to you, full chode out.
Full just vag right there, titties out. And I'm staring at this point. I'm staring at the ceiling. And my heart is about to beat out of my chest. And I'm like, dude, I got to get out of here. I gotta get out of here. And so I go outside because like last time I had went to this thing, I'd went outside. And this was a different place too. But I'd went outside. And it was less crazy outside. So I was like, I'm going to go out back this time. I think it'll be less crazy. It was more crazy. There was like a fire ritual going on. There were naked dudes.
To reiterate, this is in online influencers?
Yes. All of them have hundreds of thousands of followers just like you. Probably the same amount of followers or more as you. Now,
but
not
for
all
the
of them.
record,
now, one dude there showed me that he made $38,000 a minute for like 4 hours straight on Bitcoin.
Oh, this is not online influence. This is OnlyFans people.
Sure. Probably a lot of them were OnlyFans. I'm not sure that all of them were OnlyFans.
Okay.
But yes, a lot of OnlyFans people there. Like this Bitcoin dude was there. Like, a lot of like the first.
For the
one
record, I've never been
invited
invited to these parties because I would have told my story, and I've never been. I didn't even know this existed.
Yes. So I go outside, and there's like a fire ritual going on outside. Now, it was like a fake fire ritual. It was like people really, really, really high that were like super fucking hippie that were like, being like dumb influencers.
Like nudists?
Yeah, dumb shit. Like,
okay.
I don't know. Like a bunch of Minervals. Like, if we move around the flames and we absorb the energy from the fire, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of dumb shit.
Never mind. Don't love her.
Like that's what I mean. Not like a blood ritual or like fucking sacrificing of goats, but just weird, right? And so I go back inside, and the guy comes back, and he was like, "I'm not asking you to be a part of the orgy, but would you like to see it?" And I was like,
"Why?
To see it?" And he's like, "Well, have you ever seen an orgy before?" And I was like, "No, I have not." And he's like, "Would your wife be offended if you saw an orgy?" Now, listen, I was younger at this time. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, I think she'd be offended at this point if I don't go at least see it, because then I'm not going to have a great story to tell.
To be fair, you told her about it, so it's not like.
So he was like, okay, well, he's like, come on up. So he escorts me up. He's like, you don't have any phones on you or anything, do you? I was like, I have one in my pocket, but it's off. And he's like, can I see it? And I was like, sure. And he like sees that it's off. He's like, all right, just keep it in your pocket. Keep it off. Bro, we walk around the corner. There's like 50 fucking people in this place.
50?
All fucking in masks. And it's
masks?
Dude, the smell. Yeah, they're wearing masks. The smell of burnt rubber, like of used condoms. There was a naked woman walking around collecting condoms and handing out new condoms.
Oh, no,
It was the wildest thing. It smelled so bad. I covered my beer with my hand.
Yeah. It smells like
smelled so bad. I was like,
oh my God.
And so I was up there for 45 seconds, but every image was burned into my brain of what happened that night, of what I saw in 45 seconds.
Were they wearing like COVID masks or like masks like
no, like
what's that
like,
movie?
Eyes Wide Shut.
What?
Like the Eyes Wide Shut type mask.
This is fucking
with the,
online
nose and stuff.
Influencers.
Yes.
I don't want to do this anymore. I'm out.
Yes. I leave.
I'm out.
The guy says, "Are you offended?" I said, "No, I'm not offended. It's just not for me." And he's like, "You sure you're okay?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "Do me a favor. Listen, don't
say anything.
Don't talk about this." I was like,
Meanwhile,
"Yeah, I totally won't."
Here you are.
Like, I'm not gonna not talk about it. You fucking serious?
But I mean, to be fair,
I'll never
to
say
those
who
people,
it was. How about this? I'll never say who it was. I'll tell you more stories, but I won't drop the names.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Because I don't want to get fucking murdered.
That's what
and
I
don't care enough. And it's not like these people are that like big a deal that you would even give a fuck. But I'll tell the stories offline. But yeah, man, that was my experience that one time with an influencer orgy. So like, if you think that's happening on an influencer level, what do you think is happening at a Hollywood level?
Dude, 100%. If that story didn't change anybody's mind, if they didn't believe that was happening on a higher elite level, then you just don't want to believe it.
Then you just don't want to believe it. I saw it with my own eyes. I smelled it with my own nose. And
I can't do it. But listen, all I can say though is I'm kind of jealous that you got invited to something like that and I haven't yet. Only because I at least I would have the story, and I want to be like an inside investor. Like I want to do the story on this, and I will never go back.
Young. This is only our second episode.
Oh God!
You don't think we can't infiltrate some shit?
Listen, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm no prude, trust me. But if I walked into that.
Bro,
that's
was gross.
That's a level.
Gross.
That's a level of like.
Really gross.
Oh my God!
It was gross. I as a 20-year-old, maybe dabbling in the webs of pornography. When you're in the military, the orgy clips, they might look enticing to you. Let me tell you something.
My God!
In real life, it's disgusting.
A lot of people.
It is gross.
A lot of skin.
I saw it with my own eyes. It is gross. It is not cool. It's an anti-arousal, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of hot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We should probably put like an 18 and over disclaimer on our show. Just the thought process.
Probably.
I mean, that story is pretty. I mean, I was like,
Well, if you're still tuning in and you want to dive down the rabbit hole, we're just two normal guys trying to go down the rabbit hole of what is the truth, what's going on with all these conspiracies, how do they exist, how do aliens tie in it, how do ghosts play into it. We're going to find the truth. We're like the real X-Files of podcasts. And
we touch every subject clearly.
Clearly. It's an orgy of conspiracy theories. That's what we should.
Next week, we'll be talking about ghost orgies. Yay! No, I'm just kidding.
Tonight's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Sleep so good it's scary. Head over to ghostbed.com right now and get you a bed that's literally scary. It's so comfortable. The Ghost Bed pillows, they offer 40% off right now if you use that promo code Wolfpack. And they are supporting us from day one. So couldn't be more excited about that. Couldn't be a show at all. Couldn't grow at all if we didn't have Ghost Bed. So if you want to support us, if you want to see our show continue to grow, if you want to be a part of our family, speaking of which, what do we want to call our family on this podcast? The tinfoil hat wearers? I mean, I don't know. Like, we got to have a name.
No, but
so Failure to Stop has the Wolf Pack. I don't want to call these folks the Wolf Pack.
I think
join
that
the Wolf Pack.
You can join the Wolf Pack. I think that we should take request. Yeah, like let us know what you think, and we'll have them choose.
Yeah, what do you want us to call you?
We'll have the theys choose.
Oh, theys.
And not the pronoun theys. The theys.
Not the they thems.
Not they them. They're the zerd. Hey, alphabet community. This one's not about you, babe.
It's not.
No.
You're fucking out.
They want to be about everything. This is not about them.
Oh, yeah.
And trust me, I love y'all because I was part of that community. They exiled me.
They exiled you?
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy.
They said they don't claim me anymore. Oh, well. You win some, you lose some.
We could call them the Illuminasties.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Or the nasties.
The nasties. The Illuminasties. Skull and boners. No. Nobody wants to be called that. No. Man, for a show that's supposed to be serious, we are not very good at that.
No, I believe. Hey, you had a lot of
be more serious.
I sat and listened. You had a lot of.
You need to be more serious. Moments. You threw me off.
I'm not the one who went to an influencer orgy party. That was you, bruh.
Listen, you're not supposed to talk about it.
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
I asked you. I said, can I tell you a secret?
It's millions. I'm disappointed.
Secret.
Where's my invite to this party so I can do a report? I need to do a report on this.
That's how I feel about Bohemian Grove. Like, invite me, baby. Let's go. I want to see this shit. We will never get invited to any of these parties. FYI.
I'm just not going to be dipped in blood, and I do not want to shit on the lawn. Like, I at least need a bathroom reporter. Other than that, I'm good to go.
Couple of rules, fellas. Not bathing in blood, not shitting on the grass. Okay, now here we go. We have a Patreon, and I want it's the Failure to Stop Patreon channel, and soon Anthony and I will have our own channel on the Failure to Stop Patreon channel. So if you want to go over there right now, it's $3 I think a month to join our Patreon. But Anthony and I are going to try to get on for the Patreon specials. We're going to try to get on ex-cult members. We're going to try to get on people who have fled Scientology, and we're going to do some other stuff for our Patreon fans. But if you want to go ahead and get into that right now, go ahead and subscribe. There's so much content on the Failure to Stop thing. If you're a first responder, especially, or if you support first responders, right now everything on there's a little bit of true crime, but it's mostly political news, first responder news, because their channel is all about first responders and keeping them entertained and away from mainstream media. So, but we're because we're part of the network, we are gonna have our own little sub Patreon on there, and that also helps pay for Anthony and I's show here. So all those things, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to be an Illuminati or whatever we call it, it's up to you guys, whatever we call it. If you want to be a part of that, that's the way you get into this cult. You don't have to bathe in blood or shit on the lawn. You can literally just be a Patreon member, be a paid member, and then that will let us know. We might even start a Discord so that we might open up our Discord to 100 members only. And that way you can have direct access, and you have to pay for that though.
I'm gonna come out looking like the bitch from Kerry.
When you go to
remember the movie Kerry?
I do
just
remember
all
the movie Kerry.
all blood, white dress.
Now, have you seen? You know what we should do on our first Patreon episode, dude?
Dress up like Kerry with a white dress and all blood on me. I'm down. Oh no, that's not what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you could do that for sure.
Okay. No bra.
Okay, no bra.
Titties.
We should do a watch along where you and I watch Eyes Wide Shut together.
Oh, let's go.
Have you seen it?
It's been a long time.
It's been 20 years since I've seen that.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm totally down.
All right. Well, we'll do a Patreon watch along. I'm supposed to be.
Did you tell them about our pillow fight?
That did not happen. That's never happened. We never had a pillow fight.
No, it's gonna happen.
I'm not having a pillow fight with you. I'm straight. Straight dudes.
You don't have to be straight or get to be pillow fight. Listen, you went to an orgy party. You want to have a pillow fight with your friend?
It wasn't a gay orgy.
There were guys there.
Yeah, but they weren't doing gay. Well, they could have been doing gay.
You have no idea.
They were long
okay,
enough.
you want to hear the story?
Enough.
I know.
I was literally there 45 seconds.
I know. I'm just fucking busting your balls. We are having a pillow fight. Continue.
But a gay orgy sounds like a pain in the ass. That was a funny one. But yeah, so I was actually supposed to go down there and see you here pretty soon. So a week or two, we'll be together. We'll be doing a live show together in the same room in the same spot, and then we'll be taking a break from conspiracies when I'm down there. And we're going to talk about the skunk ape of Florida, which is a paranormal, sighting.
It's not really a break from. I mean, that's kind of a conspiracy. Do you believe in the skunk ape or don't you? Do you believe in Bigfoot or don't you?
I didn't want to ruin the surprise, but I'm taking you to the skunk ape research facility, which is like 30 miles south of Naples, Florida. So you and I in 2 weeks will be going down to the skunk ape research facility. And I guess we'll just have to determine from the facts and the shit that we learned there, because I never even heard of the skunk ape. We'll figure out if it's real. Maybe we'll go look for it while we're down there. But yeah, so we've got a lot to do on this show. A lot of time. We got a lot of shit to shove in to 1 year's worth of episodes, unless at the 6-month mark they say we suck and they kick us off of this thing.
It is what it is. It's a good run.
We'll join the Illuminati, dude. We'll take this whole network down. We'll become skull and boners. All right, guys. Make sure you go follow at Conservative Ants everywhere. The guys everywhere.
Yeah.
Follow the Failure to Stop podcast channel. They're everywhere as well. And you can follow me, Eric Tansey, but I'm not really that entertaining. I do have a stand-up comedy show coming up on November 11th, Veterans Day, with J. Darrell White, just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. So if you're in the area of Clayton, North Carolina, and you want to go to our comedy show, go to the Instagram page. And you can, I'll be promoting on there the comedy show, but I am one of the headliners, so that's exciting. It'll be the first time I'm one of the headliners.
Congratulations! I love that for you.
Probably.
Maybe you'll invite me out one time.
I mean, yeah, if you want to come up here for that, it's gonna be really funny. I might make a couple gay jokes.
I'm down.
All right, guys. Until next time, if we're not suicided, we'll be here. Same bat time, same bat channel. How do we end our shows these days? Like, what do we say? Like,
after these messages.
No, like we have to stay alive.
Stay alive. Don't get Clintoned. No.
Why did you say it like a fucking Barbie girl?
He really is. He does like gay people. I promise.
Who does?
You. No. It was like so mean. Like, why did I say? Oh, he said no.
Dude, I'm so homophobic. Look at my mullet, dude.
Same though. Same.
It's like anti-gay.
Okay, I said like a Barbie girl, and then you just whipped your. I whipped my hair back up.
Hey, do gay people like mullets or no?
No, they think that it's completely like. Homophobic
because
you're I love a good mullet. Love it. So mad that Morgan Wallen
what's the number one haircut that gays hate on straight dudes? That's the haircut I'm gonna get.
Probably the mullet.
Fuck yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
Damn it.
But guys, I'm like an anomaly. If a gay person likes it, I'm like, ugh. I don't like that. Like everything that gay people don't like. The worst gay person ever.
Subarus. Ugh.
They're like, oh, fuck the cops. I'm like, bitch, buddy.
Yay, Subarus. Ooh, fuck Subarus. That shit's gay.
We already established that Subarus are for lesbians. Okay.
I got it. But seriously, stay awake, stay alive, stay aware. We'll work on it. Give us a closing for our show.
Yes,
for
that's
then,
another good one.
Fuck off.